Hello everyone, it's Liam the Deaf Doomer Head, and today is a video in celebration of Marc G with a C finally getting to 2,000 subscribers. Now, Marc is probably one of the oldest YouTubers I've watched as I started doing this. So I used to watch people like M.S.W, some chaps in America, and I kind of watched it from afar and appreciating the fact that they talked about the music I loved. And at the time I wasn't collecting because I didn't have the space. And over the years, when COVID kicked in, I was in this room permanently, obviously, because we were all in isolation. And then I was obviously working from home, which has become the norm now. And he was one of the guys I used to watch quite a lot in the UK scene, especially. And he was one that always kind of spoke about the kind of music I liked. He's an easiest chap in the world to get on with because he's a northerner. All northerners are friendly, I think, anyway. I've not met one yet that I don't like. Yeah, probably. But then, yeah, he's an amazing bloke, and he's doing a video to kind of celebrate 2,000 subscribers. He's doing a little giveaway, but that's not important. I've supported Marc now for years, been a fan of his band for a very long time, before I even knew who Marc was. And getting to know Marc has been a real pleasure. And yeah, I'll stop waffling on and being all soppy, because that's not what his channel's about, is it? It's about fucking heavy metal. And that's what I'm going to show you. So he's asked us to show 3 specific questions to do with see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. And I do have some skeletons on my monitors there which represent that saying that I've had for absolutely years, but it's something, you know, you don't really think about, and it's a really cool topic. So the first question is, see no evil, show me 2 pieces of album art that you just look at which enhances the enjoyment of the music and kind of essentially makes the album better because the art is fucking amazing. And the first one is quite a new album, actually. This came out in 2019, but I didn't know what the band was. I had no idea what they sounded like. I saw this album artwork and thought it was the tits, and I had to have it. As simple as that. Band is a German death metal band, and the artwork is done by a guy called Juan Castellano. Probably butchered his name. But the band is Revel in Flesh, and their Hour of Venger album that came out, I think, 2019, something like that. Now, just look how amazing that is. Now, I love Grim Reapers, scythes, skulls, the whole lot. You probably figured that if you watch my videos. I've got a bit of a skull fetish. And yeah, this album artwork is amazing. And then if you open it up, you get to see it in all its fucking glory. Look at that. And this is like HM2 death metal, if you don't know what this is. They're a very good band. Very much in the vein of the Swedish style, but they're a German band. And they're just brilliant. Really good band. Very, very catchy. And annoyingly, Marc G has this on a long sleeve, I believe, or one of their long sleeves, which I don't have. So another reason to... But yeah, it's just a fucking awesome album. And the artwork kind of heightens that for me. And then this one as well, the more the artwork fits with the theme of the album so well, you just look at the artwork and already know what the album's going to be like. Now this is an American project called M.S.W, which stands for Matt Scott Williams, who's the guy behind the band Hell, the American band, not the English band. So if you look at the artwork and study it, you've got someone here on a noose, people crying and mourning. There's an angel here in the background, the devil here. And what this album is about the musician's brother who was going through addiction and how it affects the whole family. So it's a concept album about that, and you know, if you have a loved one who's in a really, really bad place, this kind of represents all of that. And if you look at the artwork, the reverse side is the opposite side. So you've got this angel on a noose, and then that scenario that you just saw is in the background. So it's really clever, really thought-provoking, and yeah, it's a very bleak, kind of doomy, blackened album. It's very morbid, very emotional. You know, I love morbid shit, so you're probably not surprised to see me have stuff like this, but the artwork really, really heightens that, and I love that when you can see the artist has put all their effort into making sure you're getting the whole fucking package. So yeah, that is question number 1. Question number 2, hear no evil. So he wants to show 2 albums that simply you won't hear a bad word spoken about. Now, I'm very much a free thinker of speech. You know, if you don't like an album, go for you. If I think it's awesome, I'll tell you it's awesome. If I think that album is shit, I will tell you as happily it's shit, but you're entitled to say it's awesome. You know, I will never, ever, ever get upset if someone doesn't like what I like, or vice versa, because I listen to some pretty morbid shit. My kids and my wife tell me that all the time, and my friends, to be fair, all my close friends, none of them like anything I like. I'm always, you know, pushing the boundaries of what is extreme music, what is acceptable to a point. I could say as I get older, I'm getting worse. My brain's more like, I don't give a fuck about anything as I get older. And I imagine most people get like that. I would have thought anyway. But I will show you two albums that I absolutely adore that I don't think a lot of people do adore, and I'll explain why. So the first one is Gorefest's Soul Survivor. Now, Gorefest are a Dutch death metal band that put out 3 amazing death metal albums, all very brutal, very heavy. But as they went on, they got a little bit lighter each album, and then they got to this one, which came out in I think '96, and I think it was on Nuclear Blast at the time. And this is a complete U-turn, you could say, on their style of death metal. So this became more of, I like to say, a Thin Lizzy style of death metal. So you got these 2 guitarists here. This chap here was more the death metal guy, whereas this guy was always pushing the boat out. He's got the Les Paul. He's doing all the kind of rock kind of solos. Ed Warby here is totally out of, well, he's dipped in death metal a lot over the years, but you know, you don't really see him in any extreme metal bands anymore. Probably Hail of Bullets maybe was the last one by memory. And then obviously the singer here, I forget his name, but he kind of kept the vocal style on this album. So you've got this very much Cookie Monster style growls and grunts, which I really, really like. And the music is more of a hard rock kind of vibe. It's not a death metal vibe. It's certainly really, really heavily toned guitars, but in a hard rock kind of riff. If that makes sense. If you can imagine like a band like Volbeat with death metal vocals, you kind of get a picture of what this album is like. But Volbeat went really soft. I mean, I used to really like them as well, and then they went too far the other way for me. There's the guys in there. There's a little write-up on this edition about the album at the time. But I love it, and a lot of people absolutely hate it. And the one after it was also in a similar vein, and then they disbanded, reformed, and put out 2 other death metal albums, and then called it a day again. So if you've never checked out Gorefest, especially this one, do yourself a favour and go and check it out, because it's got some fucking amazing riffs on it, but it's more of a hard rock vibe, so don't go in there thinking you're going to get blast beats and brutalness. And then this one, this is a funny one, because I absolutely love this album. I don't really know why. Well, I know why, because I like the songs, obviously, but it's a Black Sabbath album, and it's not an Aussie one. It's not a Dio one. It's a Glenn Hughes one. So this is a Black Sabbath featuring Tony Iommi. I believe at the time he wanted to go solo, but they wanted to sell records at the label, so they just stuck Black Sabbath on the top of it, so people bought it. And this is the 7th Star album with Glenn Hughes on vocals. He was in Deep Purple and lots of other classic rock bands. You've got Eric Singer on drums on this one, Dave Spitz on bass, and yeah, it's just a really good hard rock album. It's not doomy, it's not very much, it's got Tony Iommi kind of riffs, well obviously it has because he's fucking playing it, but they're not like the Black Sabbath style, if that makes sense. Like No Stranger to Love is an amazing song, and I really like that one. Angry Heart, all those songs are really good hard rock driving songs, really catchy, but no one ever talks about it. You mention Black Sabbath, you would never mention this one. You'd go either the Aussie era, the Dio era, or you kind of gloss over this one completely. And for some reason in my collection I have more non-Aussie and non-Dio Black Sabbath albums than any other. Like I love all that era where it wasn't really Black Sabbath, but it was. So yeah, I'll stop rambling about that, but that is an amazing album as well. That's the first press as well. I got it on eBay, it was that cheap, because no one likes it. And the final question is Speak No Evil, where you show 2 albums that you've heard Mr. Marc G himself talk about, because the whole point of doing these YouTube videos, in my eyes, and why I do them, is to kind of promote bands. I don't go on here to do like a show and tell where I go, oh look at my amazing collection. Nothing like that. It's all about promoting bands, because the whole aim is to kind of get the underground pushed out there, because mainstream magazines, especially if you buy the bigger metal magazines, you get a little bit, but nowhere near enough for my liking. And in my experience, when you're a band, you have to pay to get that exposure as well, which I always think is a bit of a rip-off. So me doing this for free, if it can help in any way, I'll happily do it. You know, that's the whole point of it, and the same for Mark and everyone else that does these kind of videos. I imagine same thinking, you know, promote good music, communicate with other fellow metalheads, because let's be honest, we're all weirdos outside of this whole social circle of heavy metal. And yeah, it's crazy. But Mark did over the years has recommended me 2 albums, and these 2 stand out the most to me. I've got quite a few, because you normally want to play keep up with someone as well. But this one was basically, he showed this, I saw the cover, fuck yeah, I'm having that. And that is Jungle Rot, with the self-titled album that came out in 2018. I mean, look at that cover. This is the only reason I wanted this album, purely because of the cover. The album's alright, don't get me wrong, it's not amazing or like, oh, brilliant. I mean, I like it, but the cover is the main reason I like this album. Solely the cover. A guy being eaten by piranhas, and it's just fucking brilliant. I mean, Jungle Rot have been around for a long time. I think they started in the 90s, US death metal band. And, you know, as albums have gone on, they kind of become a bit more of a thrashy kind of band for me, but they kind of have the same vocal style still. And yeah, I enjoy them. I don't beat my meat to them as much as some other people might do, but I bought this because of Marc, really, showing that. So that's the first one. And because he loves HM2 so much, yet Enchantment doesn't have any of that. As far as I know, I can't really hear it, but he loves Swedish death metal. Like, he's a thrash guy, but he also loves that HM2 tone that so many other people do. And he was bleating on about this band for such a long time. Sentient Horror, another US death metal band. And again, the album cover was like, alright, I'll go check it out, you've got me. Big demon walking around in the morning in his little realm. And I believe this is a one, Castello one, like that Revel in Flesh one. So the same artist, I believe, as well. And yeah, it's just brilliant. Brilliant HM2, simple, nasty death metal. And the only reason I picked this up is purely because of Marc. Again, you know, you recommend bands, a lot of YouTubers, if you're like me, you watch other people's, you make notes, you store it in the back of your mind, you make little notes in Spotify to check out certain albums. And Marc recommended this band a lot. And yeah, I jumped on board completely. And I've only got this one in mind of the band, but it's a good album. I haven't spun it in a while though, so I might do that after this video. So yeah, Sentient Horror. Is that what they're called? Sentient Horror. I've been getting that wrong the whole time I'm saying that, so you're probably watching this going, fucking idiot. I'm not going to edit it out though, I can't be asked. Sentient Horror. Sentient Ruin's another band. Pays to have my glasses, and I don't even have any glasses. So, there you go. This is the most hashed out video I've done in ages, because it's Marc. I didn't think I wanted to do the whole Flash video thing, it's Marc. So, go subscribe to his channel if you haven't already. I imagine you would have done, because he's way more popular than I am. And also go and check out his other videos. I'll put some around my head, but more importantly, support the scene, because there's other people in the like music scene around us that watch this video and comment on videos. I'm going to give a shout out to my mate John, because he asked me to, and he's a really lovely bloke. But he's also got an eBay page that has 1,000 or so albums for sale. They're all CDs, so if you're a CD junkie, I'll leave a link below and go and check out his eBay page, because they're not expensive. And he's got everything of the metal spectrum, like from death doom, black metal to hard rock to thrash, the whole lot. He's trying to clear his collection down. So if you're in for buying an album, go and check out his eBay store. I've bought a few off there, as well as a few other friends of mine. So there you go, John. So in the meantime, enjoy your music. Take care.